G'day mate, 40 here. So when I look at sports fans who dress up in bizarre ways, and, shave their hair and go all bare-chested in sub-zero temperatures, like the more extreme the fandom, it just screams so bleedingly obvious, like the more lacking the life, right? The more desperate, the more intense you are to assert and publicly announce and proclaim your fandom, right? Now, of course, I wear a yarmulke, but that's just an expression of my hero system. It's not because I'm clinging to certainty in an uncertain world. I see through the BS, man. I may be, by all conventional accounts, a very unsuccessful person, a total loser, marginalized loser. But at least I see through the BS, man. All right? So, come on, think about the most extreme sports fans you've known in your life, all right? All right? The more extreme the sports fandom, right, the more desperate people are to get rid of their unwanted selves and dissolve themselves in the all of some sporting allegiance or religious allegiance or political allegiance or some kind of communal allegiance, right? The more desperate people are to be rid of themselves and to dissolve themselves in some group greater than them. They give up their individuality to be part of a team. Right? The more unhappy they are, the less effective they are. You think someone effectively navigating his way through life, so holding down a marriage, 3 kids, earning over $1 million a year, with friends from childhood, the respect of his peers, exciting projects that keep him filled with passion and energy and enthusiasm and joy. Right? You think that person dyes his hair on Sundays to go yell and scream at a football game? No, you can be a successful, happy, accomplished person and enjoy sports. Right? But the more desperately you get your meaning in life from sports, or from your favorite political team, right? The fortunes of Donald Trump, either pro or con. And if you get a great deal of your meaning from the success or failure of the Trump project, that you're a marginalized loser, right? Because it really doesn't matter 99% of the time to 99% of people in America, whether it's Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or Barack Obama is president. Just doesn't matter. The reason that we talk about it so much, if we do talk about it so much in a healthy way, the healthy reason is because it's fun and we enjoy it. We find it stimulating because we're smart and we enjoy living in an abstract world. Right? Smart people love to live in an abstract world. Politics is a largely abstract world. Abstract meaning apart from, set apart from, distinct from, away from concrete concerns of real people in a real world. All right? We overwhelmingly discuss abstract topics on this show because it's fun, it's stimulating, it's challenging. It's the equivalent of video gaming for other groups, or playing basketball Americans, golf Americans, Christian Americans, Judaic Americans. Right? We all have our different pursuits that give meaning and purpose to our life, and they all stem from our hero system. So this strikes me that the absurd certainty with which many people approach life, such as the Israel, Gaza, Hamas, Arab Islamic world conflict, the more certain your pronouncements, on complicated, nuanced, constantly changing, contradictory, inflammatory, bewildering topics like this, right? The greater your need for certainty, right? The more insecure and usually ineffective you are, right? To cling absurdly to things that are just infinitely complicated, it's a way of admitting that, hey, reality is just way too complicated for me. I'm unwilling to deal with reality, so I've got to construct this mansion of my own certainties as against all empirical observations and hold myself up, right? I need to tighten around certain beliefs, right? When you let go unnecessary tension, you find yourself letting go of most of your beliefs, and the beliefs that you do retain, they take on a gentle quality. Like, have you ever met a more gentle, considerate, compassionate, unselfish, did I say empathic, live streamer than myself? The way that my heart and my head, my whole psyche and my embodied experience goes out to those who differ from me, and my ability to put myself in their shoes. I contain multitudes because I have reached this stage of spiritual evolution where I no longer need to desperately cling on to certainty to give myself protection against a infinitely complex, buzzing, confusing world. So yeah, we can still have our favorite teams. We can still enjoy sports and religion and culture and politics. But if you're a Trump supporter, you have to be humbled by the frequently childish and incompetent way that he ran his administration. If you're a Trump hater, you have to be humbled by the fact that this guy did become president of the United States, and the United States did not end under his reign, nor did he at any time come at all close to instituting tyranny or fascism or dictatorship. I voted for George W. Bush twice. I've only voted, Republican. And what an absolute disaster George W. Bush was. If you're a Joe Biden supporter, he's, tripled, quadrupled, multiplied by 10 times the odds that we'll get into some kind of shooting war with Russia, some kind of nuclear exchange with Russia and with China, by just skipping right past the traditional American strategy over Taiwan of strategic ambiguity. That Joe Biden has transcended that because, as Steve Saylor notes, he's the most Trumpian of all politicians next to Donald Trump. He's such an egomaniac. He has to fly to Israel at a time of war, completely unnecessarily putting the United States front and center in this Arab-Israeli conflict. And who knows how many thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Americans will die. Just think, if there was another 9/11, had anything like the repercussions of the last 9/11, right? The last 9/11 was only caused because of America's unnecessary involvement in Middle East politics, right? And as a result, we spent about $5 trillion on the occupation of Iraq, another couple of trillion invading and occupying Afghanistan. Completely changed air travel for the worse, temporarily at least devastated the economy, instituted whole new layers of government intrusion into our lives, brought about whole new layers of government bureaucracies listening in on our lives, so diminishing our freedoms considerably, to an extent we're not even aware of in all likelihood. They instituted brutal regimes of terror and torture, slaughtering or being responsible for the deaths of probably well over 1 million Iraqis and Afghans had unnecessary deaths because of our rabid, unnecessary response to 9/11. Now Joe Biden has set us up for multiple 9/11s because he's so certain that he can stage manage these conflicts, that he can get into some brutal, great power game with Russia. Like, imagine that you're president of the United States, or you're a leading American politician, or you're in the foreign policy establishment elite. Like, where's the joy? Where's the fun? Where's the sense of importance? Where's the status? Where's the power? Where's the glory at basically pursuing a realistic vision of America's most vital interests and abstaining from getting involved in exciting ventures overseas that are not in our great interest. Yeah, hi, what do you need?
There is
84
887
887.
0504.
I'm not sure. You'll have to try.
This one 87.
Oh, it's okay. So that's 8712. What are you looking for?
8705.
So that would be on this side. So probably right up there to the right. No, it should be. The other side is 8712. It's even. That's odd. 80787 is odd. So if Joe Biden had this empathic, humble, gentle, understanding of the limits of his administration's own ability to affect the world and to stage manage great power conflicts and shooting wars, right? We wouldn't have blundered into these unnecessary interventions in the Middle East and Ukraine and setting us up for just a colossal cluster over Taiwan. Okay, Shalom. You voted for Bush, yes, twice. 40 is the only GUP voter with an IQ over 120. 5 trillion could have colonized the solar system. Asian lady needs help. Always the mensch. Absolutely. So I have to step away from my grand moral visions, my innovative ethical reasoning, my deep universal strategic analysis to help my fellow human being in need find 8705. Lady, look, if it's 8712 on the other side of the street, that means on this side of the street you get odd numbers. Right? That's the kind of piercing insight that you tune into this channel for. But I'm loving this novel, Wellness by Nathan Hill. I'm approaching the end, and so I'm in the section about 2 hours in the Audible book from the end where the professor he studied how can you manufacture falling in love. He found out you can manufacture it by certain key questions. So you bring about a certain feeling of nervous excitement, and then you get people to open up about their most intense emotional memories, and that triggers the falling in love. And they also, in this novel at least, run some kind of experiment on how you can cure your own back pain, right? The power of the placebo effect. And so why don't we use the placebo effect more often? Because it's so expensive in terms of our resources, even though we live in a world basically safer than 99% of people have experienced in history. We are evolutionarily mismatched. And so we feel a great deal of strain and fear and bewilderment. And so we try to wrestle the buzzing confusion and threat that is all around us by clinging very tightly to certain beliefs. That way we feel like they're a bulwark against a dangerous world. But through the Alexander technique, we learned that all beliefs are just unnecessary muscular tension. That when you release the unnecessary muscular tension, you release the tightness with which you hold your beliefs too, right? The way you hold your muscles is the same way you hold your beliefs. If your muscles are free, if your neck is free, if your shoulders are free and releasing to the sides, if your back is lengthening and widening, your head-neck relationship is aligned and the head is gently releasing forward and up, leading the whole spine into length and width. If there's this lovely length between your right hip and your left shoulder and your left hip and your right shoulder. Now I struggle a bit with interior pelvic tilt. How's your interior pelvic tilt? I suggest you go into YouTube and look up interior pelvic tilt. Because if you're right-handed, the odds are 99% you've got anterior pelvic tilt. And the central nervous system is wired in such a way that it must keep the eyes level. So when you have anterior pelvic tilt, the back must wrench to keep your eyes level. It's a huge source of back pain, just inefficient and sometimes painful movement. And I still have a bit of anterior pelvic tilt. I feel, my right leg much stronger than my left leg. I feel my pelvis always just tilting a bit, forward to the right. And so I get on my handheld massage gun pretty much every morning and just kind of dig into my, down there, inside my pelvis in the pelvic bowl and in a bit, and try to loosen up those muscles and try to release the old anterior pelvic tilt. So I've got some good release, feels good, but I've got somehow some unnecessary muscular tension patterns that are resulting in this anterior pelvic tilt. And now I've got to try to negotiate 6 lanes of traffic without getting run over. Baruch Hashem, free at last. And I want to get home and I want to look up self-respect. Like, why do I engender disrespectful treatment by a not insignificant number of people in my life? And here I am, the greatest writer of my generation, leading geostrategic analyst, a guru with insights into life, someone with the capability of bestowing meaning over the universe. Yet I struggle with anterior pelvic tilt and receive a disturbing amount of disrespect. And many people regard me as some kind of marginalized loser. What the hell is going on here? Sometimes Ford releases himself from the intellectual stimulation to help the cognitive minions. That's why he's such a good guy. Yes, this knower of hero systems, someone who understands the fictional nature of hero systems. And yet, I still got this anterior pelvic tilt, and I'm the recipient of these disturbing jokes about Depends and adult diapers, and I'm geriatric and 1 foot in the grave and weirdo and psycho and freak, and what the hell? So much to prey on.